Hi America!
And I'm Sarah.
And we're from Left to Right.
Today we are going to tell you everything we read this summer and give you our top 5 favorites. This summer I read 14 books, so just bear with me. The first one is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, and I gave that 5 stars. The next one is The Cellar by Natasha Preston. I gave that one 2 stars. It was a little bit of disappointment. Next I read the Passenger series, Passenger and Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken. I gave them both 5 stars. Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. I gave that one 3.5. The next one is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. That one was 3.5. Salt of the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, and I gave that one 4 stars. Also by that author, Between the Shades of Grey, also 4 stars. Next was the Savage Song series by Victoria Schwab. I gave those both 4 stars. Then the Game Set Match series by Jennifer Acapelli, both 5 stars. And last but not least, the Rebel of the Sand series, both 5 stars.
And this summer I read 13 books, starting with The Hammer of Thor by Rick Riordan, which is the second book in the Magnus Chase trilogy, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars to. Then I read Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken, which I gave 5 stars to. My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand and a bunch of other authors, I gave that 3 stars. Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, I gave that 4 stars. The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan, which is the second book in the Trials of Apollo series, I gave that one 4 stars. Then I read The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid, which I gave 5 stars to. My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult, 4 out of 5 stars. The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye, 3 out of 5 stars. I read Camp Half-Blood Confidential by Rick Riordan, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars to. Both Rebel of the Sands and Traitor to the Throne by Alvin Hamilton, I gave both of those 5 stars. Percy Jackson's Greek Heroes, I gave that 4 out of 5 stars by Rick Riordan. And Midnight at the Electric by Jodi Lynn Anderson, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to.
And now for our top 5 favorite books that we read this summer. My number 1 was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This book takes place in World War II and revolves around Liesl Meminger. Liesl's brother has recently died and her mom is forced to give her up for adoption, so now it's all about Liesl, how she deals with her new family and how she survives during the war, meeting a couple friends. But the interesting thing about this book is that it's narrated by death, which is something I never read before, and that's what kept me reading it and what made it so interesting. The way that he described and how he made death fear humans and how he compared everything to, it was beautifully written. And I really hope you guys read this book.
My first favorite book of the summer is actually Midnight at the Electric by Jodi Lynn Anderson. It centers around this girl who lives in the year 2100 and she is about to travel to Mars, so she needs to do this program before she's able to travel there, and she has to live with her 90-year-old cousin who she struggles talking to and socializing with, mainly because she is very secluded and she doesn't really like talking to anyone, so she doesn't. And one night, a couple days before she needs to go and travel to Mars, she finds these letters, and those letters lead to more letters about people that have lived in her cousin's house before her. Once she reads them, it changes something in her and she starts reacting to life in a different way than she did before.
My next one is Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab, and since it's the second book in the This Savage Song series, I'm going to give you the rundown on the first one so I don't spoil anything on the second. The first one is about a city that is divided by 2 families, the Flynns and the Harkers. Kate Harker has been sent away for the past 5 years, doing anything she can to get kicked out of the boarding schools to come back home. August Flynn, all he wants to do is become human. August is one of the most powerful monsters that roam the city at night. He can steal your soul with a simple couple notes of playing off of his violin. Once Kate Harker finally comes home, the Flynns think of it as advantage and let August go to school to try to get close with her and find out secrets, leading to an unlikely bond between the two and leaving it to them to find the best way to run the city.
And my next book is Rebel of the Sands by Alvin Hamilton. I think this is my favorite book of the summer that I read. It was great, and it's about this one girl named Imani who lives in this really run-down town. It's a small town called Dustwalk, and it's a place where she definitely doesn't want to be. It's not what she wants for herself. So to go and make money, she goes to this gunslinging event dressed as a boy, because in her culture, a girl is definitely not allowed to use a gun. It's not something that's acceptable. So she dresses as a boy and goes to this gunslinging event where she meets this boy named Jin, and Jin is also trying to make money to get out of Dust Walk. So the two of them team up, and when they do, it turns out that Amani is getting a lot more than she bargained for.
My next book is the second book to the Rebel of the Sand series, so I'm just going to piggyback off of Erica's what she said because I don't want to ruin anything, but the second book I read in a matter of 2 days. I couldn't put it down. The characters are so good. They will break your heart. They will make you laugh and cry, and this book was just so good, and we both can't wait for the third one.
My next book is The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. This is a book that I talked about in my video last week, so you should watch that after this. If you didn't see it, The Diabolic is a book about these humans that are born and bred to be these protectors to another person that they are linked to, and that is the only person they will ever love and protect. So this one Diabolic named Nemesis, she is bonded to this girl named Sidonia, and Sidonia's parents are very wealthy. Her parents are huge political figures in the world, and there's also some political strife which causes Sidonia to have to travel to the capital, and Sidonia knows that it's not a safe place for her, so Nemesis goes in her place. But Nemesis has never felt any of these types of emotions that Sidonia has felt. She's never felt love, she's never felt accepted, so it's going to be a long road for her to try and figure out how to act as Sidonia would and live in a world where she never thought she would be living in.
The next book is Passenger. I took off the dust cover because it's just so pretty, the regular hardcover, the design and the color, and it's just beautiful. Anyway, this book revolves around Etta Spencer, who is a violin prodigy, and she's in the middle of performance when something weird happens and draws her to this one part of the place she's performing in and ends up in another place in another time. She meets Nicholas Carter, and together they travel the world and through time trying to find the astrolabe and racing against other people to try to find it, following her mom's hints which only she knows. This book was so good, the characters are great, and I totally recommend for you to read this.
Now it's my turn to piggyback off of Sarah because I have Wayfarer, which is the second book to Passenger, and it was just as good as the first one, if not better, so we both, I can speak for both of us, we both definitely recommend both of these books. That's a lot of both in one sentence.
A world record. Last but not least is the Game Set Match series, which focuses around 3 people, Penny, Jasmine, and Indy, and they all have to deal with their own version of heartbreak and laser focus for their next match. This series was so good. I read this one pretty fast too, and I really would love to reread this just because it was great. Totally recommend this one too.
And my last book is My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Pickle, which is a book about this 13-year-old girl named Anna, and Anna's sister is sick. She's terminally ill, she has cancer, and Anna's sister was diagnosed with this cancer before Anna was born. So essentially, Anna was born to be able to give her body parts, her blood to her sister for her sister to survive. And this book is about Anna's journey in trying to figure out if she really wants to keep giving her own flesh and blood to her sister, even if it does mean that her sister will die because of it. This book was actually pretty good, except for the ending. The ending was kind of a cop-out, I felt like, but I figured there was only so many ways that it could have ended. And that's where I'm gonna leave it.
Thanks for watching. Join us again on Friday. If you want to keep up with what's going on, all our social media will be linked down in the description below. Hit that subscribe button, and happy reading. Bye!